All right, guys, so you know I'm a huge car guy. You know I love cars. You know I have a whole buttload of them, and I race them, not just at the strip, but on the track. I'm a big track guy. I like twisties because it shows that you're a fast driver and you don't just have a fast car. So you guys know I bought the GTR Pro not too long ago. Absolutely love this. We're going to talk about the comparisons between the competitor, the 600LT. Now granted, this is in a different price bracket. It is roughly 80 to 100K more than this, but they run similar times around the Nürburgring. You guys might want to go ahead and research that, but whatever. So this right here, the AMG GTR Pro, I was not initially excited for it. I've always wanted one, but I wasn't really excited for it. Now, granted, this car right here, exceptional, very exceptional, crisp turn in. The extra aero does make a difference. And both cars are on the same tires, by the way, so we can have a real comparison. They're both on 888Rs. This right here is just such a good overall feel of a car. The driving dynamics are great. The rear wheel steering helps by shortening the wheelbase essentially. Now the nose is a little long, but when you're driving it, you get used to it. It's a front mid-engine style, kind of like a Ferrari, where the front, where the engine sits really close to the cabin. It has a torque tube because the transmission is in the rear, so it helps the balance. But the tech in here is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Mercedes-Benz fit and finish, it's beautiful. Everything in here feels very luxurious. The tactile feels, like the buttons, the door handles, when you pull it, just nice solid click. Everything's weighted right. You know, the steering is decent in this as far as, you know, placement and sharpness, but it doesn't have the same feel as the McLaren. All right, so that goes without saying. McLarens have some of the best steering. Now, if I did not have a McLaren, I would say this steering is pretty good. You know, a lot of people cross-shop this between an R8, and since I also have an R8 as well, I would go with this every single time. Unless you're a crap driver and need the all-wheel drive for where you're at, this by far a much more usable car. It's more comfortable, it's more compliant, looks very good, very good. The interior, it's very roomy compared to the R8. I mean, this is just a very well-balanced car, especially for a daily driver. Now this, you guys know I'm a big McLaren guy, that's why they call me Mac Daddy. Love it. This right here, extremely fast. The AMG GTR Pro makes a lot of usable torque down low, so you don't have to downshift. You can just get on the gas and go. This monster right here loves to be revved out. This flat plane crank V8 loves to be revved. It sounds wild, it looks wild. On the track, the steering feel is second to none. Why? It's second to Porsche. Porsche still has some of the best steering feel that I've ever felt in a car, period. This right here, McLaren has it dialed down. There is no other manufacturer outside of Porsche and McLaren that has steering feel so down, and it's because this uses hydraulic steering. I took this out to a track night at NJMP, Track Night in America, and this right here, obviously it's modded, but it stayed so flat in the turns, so fast. And this car right here, if you're a crappy driver, it will help you somewhat, but you do have to be experienced to get the most out of it. You do need to be an experienced driver to really eke out every little bit of what this car can do. I daily my McLaren, well, I did up until I got the GTR Pro, and they are usable. Now, if you have like a 720S or 570, something like that, that's a little bit more livable day to day. Me, I'm a race car guy, so I like the tactile feel of race cars. So that's why I have the 600LT. That's why I had a 720. You guys saw me go from the black 600 to the 675, then to the 720, and now back to a 600, just because I love the race car feel of the LT line. And just the way this is, it's a little bit smaller, so the wheelbase is shorter, it's a little bit more nimble, just great feeling car. You know, how they both compare against one another as far as driving, they both serve similar purposes, but they go about accomplishing the goal in very drastically different ways. Whereas this is a torque monster, just torque everywhere, absolutely everywhere. It's very usable. This right here, you got to rev it out, got to ring it out. It's, you know, it loves to be up there in the upper RPMs. Just, you know, kind of like a motorcycle feel. Now granted, since they're both on the same tires, I would probably run similar times at NJMP in the low, you know, teens. You know, for if you guys know NJMP, if you run low teens, you know, a minute in teens, you're doing pretty well on that course. So I'd probably run similar times, even though this is about 400 or 500 pounds lighter. This obviously heavier. You know, there's more tech in here. This is a very Spartan interior. There's no, you know, buttons on the steering wheel, nothing that McLaren wants you to drive. I would still run similar times just due to the fact that the suspension on this and the turn in is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. On a course, on, you know, whether it be Lightning or Thunderbolt, you know, there's a lot of turns. Having enough torque to exit out without downshifting is going to be very, very big, you know, on courses where there's a lot of, you know, tight turns. This right here, when I took this out, this was a handful coming out of some of the turns because I did have to be in the upper RPMs, because if I was too low, like let's say I was in third gear coming out of a turn and I was, you know, like 2,500 RPM, it would take a little bit to get going. But if I was in second gear and I got on it, like I kept traction control on because I didn't want to wreck, you know, $300,000 car. But this thing will get away from you real fast because you're within that power band, and it's a lot. It's a lot of car that can get away from you very quickly, whereas this car is a little bit more controlled. You can kind of feel, how do I want to put this? You can feel your limit in this, right? This right here inspires too much confidence, and when you hit the limit, you're screwed. That's it, you're just done. And I mean, these cars, you know, we're gonna do a full review on them, obviously, you know, full driver review, but I feel like if you're looking to have a fast track car, you know, and you're trying to get into like the super sports car or exotic car realm, you can't go wrong with either one of these. The GTR Pro, I feel, would be something that you could live with on a daily basis though. It's something that I think you would be more happy with if you could only have one. If your bank account didn't allow you to have multiple supercars, which luckily I'm blessed to have, you would pick that one, or at least I would personally pick that one. You know, if I was going to be taking it to the track and, you know, potentially daily driving it as well. But if you are blessed to have enough money to go with something like this, you're definitely going to want this. You know, just from the looks perspective alone, it's wild. The doors go up, they go in the right direction. And it is a track weapon. You know, it's going to help you build your driving skill a little bit quicker than this, where if you're not the best driver, the GTR Pro is going to be more of your friend. This right here, definitely not your friend. So get a Miata first and drive that and then see how that goes. You know, I mean, just they're both beautiful cars. They're both great at what they do. But if you're looking for a daily, then this is probably going to be the move. The tech is better, you know, front camera, rear camera, the sound, the Burmeister sound system, the fit and finish, again, the tactile feel, the tech that goes into it, the infotainment system, the climate controls, just all of it. The overall package, just such a really, really nice car. Just an overall better car to daily. This right here, if you don't care about those things, like I'm not a real big, you know, creature comfort person, but that right there, that interior, very Spartan. It's just you, the car, driving. I mean, it's great. But the fit and finish is not as great as the Mercedes. Obviously, this right here, people know McLaren build quality is kind of chintzy. Now they're getting better. The 720s did get better. The 765 better, and the new Artura definitely better. The Elva better. But you know, there are, you know, panel gaps and you know, just the interior, it's kind of held together by a shoestring and bubble gum and stuff. And whenever you take the car apart, you'll notice that they had to do readjustment from the factory because these are all hand assembled. All right, so, and that's part of the quirks in the character of McLaren. Like that's why I love McLaren. You know, it's just a brand that embodies, you know, what I like, you know, a track focused driving feel, and it's driver first and everything else second. Whereas obviously Mercedes is about everyone who's going to be riding with you. Okay, you know, everyone who's well, you only got one other passenger, but when you're riding in there, the other person is riding in style, they're riding in comfort, you know, heated seats and all that jazz and everything else. Whereas this, if you got center seats, your ass ain't getting heated or none of that. You know, that your passenger has to be okay with getting beat up a little bit because the suspension is a little bit stiffer. It's not as compliant as the GTR Pro, but again, you know, I still feel like if you're looking for something that's wild and you're gonna do a lot of track driving, maybe this will be like a weekend car or something. 600LT, you cannot go wrong whatsoever. If you got more money, get a 675. I still believe that is one of the best driving experiences I've ever had. I do have a GT4 RS coming. None of these cars are gonna be replaced with that. So we'll have some more thoughts when that gets here. I think March of 2023 is when it's supposed to get delivered. So you guys will see that. I'm actually pretty excited. But yeah, so we'll do like a driver's review in the future and just kind of break it all down. But you know, you guys will get to hear them like this big throaty, you know, V8, just great. Pause. But it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Like it sounds good, guys. Like I really can't say enough good things about how Mercedes put that together. I do believe there's a couple things that they could have done differently as far as like the shifter position. Kind of sucks, right? Like if you guys are a little bit taller or you sit a little bit further back, like or I can't even say that. Like if you're leaned all the way back, like, you know, you hood ratting it, cool. You know, if you're driving it like you would drive a Caddy, no problem. But if you're someone who's upright, you know, you want a good feel on the steering wheel, you kind of have to T-Rex it a little bit back here so you can shift properly, and it just doesn't feel good, you know, whatever. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but and of course, because it has a torque tube, that center tunnel is very, very big. So you can't really like hold your lady's hand if you guys, or your guy's hand, or if you're gender neutral, your partner's hand, you can't really grab that hand because the hump, you know, from the torque tube is there. But, you know, I mean, there's just little odds and ends there. You know, the trunk, it's kind of usable. The front here got a lot of space, surprisingly. It's very deep, very deep. You can use it, you know, for whatever thing. I mean, I usually put my suitcase in here. So when I go to Miami, I hate carrying bags through the airport. So I will ship my car down, put all my bags in there, and I ship it down and ship it home. And it feels great. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's like the bougiest thing that I do outside of have these cars is, yeah, I ship my car when I go on vacation because I don't like renting cars. Like, and it's expensive, by the way. Renting one of these for a day is like 1,500 bucks a day. And if I'm in Miami for a week, like, it's way too much money. I can ship this there and back for like 2,500, $3,000 with fuel now, but whatever. So yeah, those are my thoughts, guys. Like, you know, this is from an owner's perspective. This isn't from like a first time review or anything like this. Like, oh my God, you know, I'm only gonna see this car for 20 minutes. No, like, I own these, I drive them every day. You know, I'm a big track guy, if you guys haven't seen, but you know, I do love them for different reasons. You know, I love the McLaren for its wild styling. I love the handling and the steering feel. And, you know, it's such a nimble car. I mean, McLaren builds great race cars, hands down, great race cars. There's nothing negative to be said about that. Now, build quality, you know, but I think it gives it charm, and that's why I keep buying McLarens, and I don't give a shit what anybody says on that. I mean, you're not gonna find a faster car at this price point. You know, Lambos get eaten up all day. Ferrari put turbos on their car because the 12C was wrecking them. It was destroying 458s. So that should tell you something. This right here, very, you know, brutish in nature and sound, but it's actually very delicate for the size. You know, it's a little bit more nimble than you guys would expect. You know, so again, if you guys are, you know, choosing something for like a daily, this is probably it. You know, the GTR Pro. Now they do have the GTR, regular GTR. It doesn't have the extra, you know, aero and stuff, and it's still a good looking car, but I felt that the GTR Pro was a little bit more aggressive without going into the Black Series. I'm not spending $500,000 for a Black Series, guys. I'm just not fucking doing it. You know, it's so stupid right now. Like, if I could have got one at MSRP, sure, but spending 120, 130 over, bleh, no way, not gonna happen. Not doing it. But then again, I did spend over for my G-Wagon, so whatever. But for the Black Series, no. This, I believe is great. You know, GTR Pro, can't go wrong with it. The regular GTR, AMG GTR, still a good car. I just wanted a little bit extra, you know, the extra air. I wanted the carbon ceramics all the way around and not just in the front. You know, and it's great, you know, the adjustable coilovers as well. You know, once the new wheels come on, definitely getting some fuckboy wheels, they're coming. So they're gonna get put on the car. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, guys, but yeah, that's my thoughts on them. You know, we'll do some track racing. You know, I'll probably take them to NJMP. Hopefully I'll be able to get like one NJMP day in or Pocono day in before it gets too cold up here in the Northeast. And you know, I'll take both of them to the track, and then we'll see if we run similar times, which I'm pretty sure we will. We're on the same tires on 888Rs. Now, before we close this out, 888Rs are not the best for track racing, okay? They are great for straight line performance. I don't really think there's a better tire for that in the street. They are great on the track as well. Absolutely fantastic until they get hot, and then they start to get greasy. So, case in point, I was driving this, you know, at Track Night in America, and we're like a good 10 minutes into the session, 10, 15 minutes into the session, probably closer to 10. But that's when I noticed they started getting a little hot, because, you know, I had to start worrying about tire management, about heat management. So I had to back off throttle a little bit, so that way, you know, I could still run consistent lap times and keep that flow going, because that's what's important when you track race. You want to have a solid flow. You don't want to have too many sharp inputs. And when these tires start getting hot and they start getting greasy and they do let go, one of the tendencies for most drivers is to start stabbing the inputs, like slamming on the brakes harder and stuff. So what you'll do is, with these tires in particular, you'll back off. Now this car comes with, this car comes with Trofeo Rs from the factory, or like you can get the regular Pirellis, but a lot of people option with the Trofeo Rs. Good track tire. Does take a little bit to get some heat into them, and they do very well. They don't get greasy, but the level of grip isn't as confidence inspiring as like a Cup 2R. So these come with Cup 2s from the factory, which are a good track tire. Good, you know, I mean, you can still drive them in the street as well, but the Cup 2R is really where I think this car would shine. The Trofeo Rs do a good job, but this is a little bit heavier of a car, so you want to be mindful of that. So those tires are going to heat up a little bit quicker because you're carrying extra weight, whereas this is, you know, like 3,100 pounds. This is around 3,600. So, you know, just keep that in mind. 888Rs aren't really good for super heavy cars, you know, just for the heat management aspect of it. But yeah, guys, so there's that. So don't crucify me like, oh, well, you have more Trofeo Rs. Like, well, for straight line performance in the street, like, there's nothing better. Hooks, goes. The Cup 2s that were on here, they still have a lot of tread life, but they just couldn't get warm enough quick enough, and they just didn't hook, and it would spin, you know. I mean, we're tuned, about to throw the downpipes in. Yeah, you know, I tune all the things I got. You know, McLaren, Mercedes, don't hate me, guys. Like, but come on, like, why not? So, yeah, guys, I know it's been a little bit, but these are my thoughts on my cars. And you know, if you guys have any questions, you know, you guys can always comment and ask. You know, we'll probably do a comparison between these two driving, you know, on the highway. We'll see, do some pulls and see what's faster. That I'm pretty sure is going to take the cake, but you never know. I mean, this has a lot of low-end grunt, so this will probably get the jump, and then this will probably come by like a motorcycle. But yeah, that, and then hopefully I get my allocation for the GT3 RS, so that's going to be coming. So I'm, you know, obviously you guys like don't watch my content for that, like. Oh, but I do have something that you guys will want, because obviously these are very expensive. So I feel like a lot of people, it alienates a lot of people. They're like, oh, bro, like, I don't have supercar money. But guess what? I do have something coming. JDM, baby, JDM. And this is something all you guys can have. And I think you're going to love it, because I love 90 shit boxes. I'm pretty sure you guys love 90 shit boxes too. So that's going to be a good time. You guys actually might get to see that in Miami. I'm debating. Do I reveal that in Miami? Maybe. We could. We could. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But yeah. So I don't know. Do we do like some revy stuff? Do we like crank them up so that way they can hear, so they can hear what I'm talking about? Now we save it for the next one. We save it for the next one. All right, sorry guys. We're gonna save it for the next one. I know you guys want to hear them, but we're gonna save it for the next one. We're gonna do some race stuff, and yeah, because I don't know, my neighbors will probably freak out. There's a bunch of old, like, white people around here. I'm the youngest and the only black person, so they already walk by looking like I'm dealing drugs or some crazy shit. Actually, they think I play football, but yeah, some of them probably think I deal drugs, like the ones that won't talk to me. So We don't want to cause too many waves. I don't want the police is showing up to my crib. You know how that goes these days. Ain't gonna be good. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna catch you later. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace out.